was like, whoa.
Welcome back to It Is What It Is. This episode is presented by Underdog. That's an easy way to make some cash just by making picks on your favorite players. Underdog is available in more than 30 states, including Georgia, Texas, and Missouri, just to name a few. So Underdog is dropping awesome promos all season long, so make sure y'all check the app to see what's next. If you're new, use code ITISWHATITIS when you sign up. Play $5 and they'll drop $75 in bonus entries your way. Make sure y'all support the show, hit that subscribe button, lock in your bonus, and start playing today with code ITISWHATITIS. I'm Treasure Wilson, aka Stat Baby, along with your hosts Mace and Cam, and today we are joined with our analyst Arabia.
Arabia, what's going on? Killer, what's good, man?
Hey
What's
guys.
good? What's happening, everybody?
Hey y'all. Hello.
Chilling.
Great to see you, Arabia. Hope you're feeling better.
Yes, definitely feeling better. Just in the nick of time. I'm in Naples, Florida right now at the American Youth Football National Championship Tournament. So I'm going to be in Naples all week. My son's team is out here playing. So the Mustangs lost, but the next DMV team, they actually won. So I'm rooting for the Metro Hurricanes. And my son's team plays a Columbus, Ohio team on Wednesday. So going to be out here all week covering youth football.
Oh, you going against Ohio early. What's going on?
Yeah, we're excited. Definitely excited. They're called the Columbus Ice. Never heard of them before, but it should be a good game on Wednesday. Looking forward to it.
They probably never heard of y'all before.
No, they have.
Well, probably not.
They definitely have.
Love.
Okay. Well, you know what? We'll see the results next week when you come on. We'll see what happens.
And will.
Okay.
And will.
Yep.
Okay.
I love when we start like this because what was the word you used last week, Cam? It was hostility or like something there. Like
She's been
you
very
were
hostile.
talking about take you out the group chat. I'm like, yo.
Yeah, what was that about? I missed it. I just looked at the chat and said, what's going on here?
Because
I was wondering the same thing.
her hate towards Ohio is uncalled for. It's just really uncalled for. She lives in D.C. I understand her Michigan ties, but to say the fuck the whole state last week, I really took offense to it, and a lot of people from Ohio did. And we know you probably don't care, but for you to start to show off to say that you're playing a Columbus, Ohio team, that was also uncalled for.
Yeah, with
you
the kids?
You could have just said that you're playing in the youth football in Naples, Florida, and that could have been that. But you had to specify that you're playing against the Columbus, Ohio team. So that, what was it yesterday on the show? You're trying to rage bait.
Yeah, that's the word of the week.
And if that's what we're doing, let's rage bait then. No problem.
What is rage bait? Because I might be in a rage bait right now.
You say or do something on purpose to solicit a strong response in return and just rage people out. And, that's not what I was doing. I want a cool, calm, collected, harmonious show. That's my aim for today. I want everybody to get along. I want to agree with everybody. So that's the type of energy I'm coming with, personally.
You were looking down left the whole time you said that. And according to body language, you probably were lying.
According to body language, it's crazy because body language isn't a source. It's a thing.
Yep.
You're already outside of harmony. I just wanted to prove it to you just that quick.
Just like that.
You are not here for harmony.
Yep.
Just like that. Yeah, maybe she's trying to rage bait you, Mace.
Yeah, I was just checking because, I saw the attempt, so I wanted to make sure it was real. Put fire to the goal to find out if it's real goal.
Okay, so we're going to start with this game that happened last night. So the Eagles lost to the Chargers 22-19 in overtime. Arabia, what concerns do you have for the Eagles and how'd you feel about this game as a whole?
Well, I think A.J. Brown, although it is a distraction to make all of these statements in the media and just be so forward-facing with how outspoken he is about the offense, I think that's one issue, but ultimately he's right. And he's been saying since early on that this offense just hasn't been clicking in a way that could sustain an entire NFL regular season or postseason. And I think the Chargers are volatile up and down enough week to week to where a solid Eagles team should have been able to put them away in regular time, but they didn't do that. They had to go to overtime. And as of right now, the NFC East is the only division in football where every single team is on a losing streak. With the Cowboys losing last week against the Lions, Eagles, Commanders, and Giants, they're all losing in the NFC East right now. So I just think, right now the Eagles need to focus on getting back to 3 phases of football and getting stronger in that regard. And as much of a distraction as AJ Brown is, he kind of has some points. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's been a distraction since early in the season. This is something he's been alluding to for quite some time. And I won't just put it on AJ Brown. When you get 4 interceptions out of Jalen Hurts, the team is not supposed to win, regardless that he got the 225, pretty quickly. Throwing the ball away is not going to help you win in the National Football League. And then Saquon, he kind of played all right, but I'm not sure if they're the team that they were in the beginning of the year. It looked like in the beginning of the year that they were about to look like the defending champs in a much stronger way. Now it just looked like they're just playing a play at this point. He's been a big distraction to this team. And we talked about it earlier in the season. This just shows what happens when somebody come in the locker room and just have a different agenda than the teams go.
Shit been going downhill since he been talking. They was winning, whether they was winning by a lot or a little, or he had a 100-yard game or didn't have a 100-yard game, talking about A.J. Brown. But since he been talking, that's what happens. Sometimes you put that juju in the air, and it comes back to haunt your team. We know this nigga's all world when he's on point and he's happy and so on and so forth. But to me, this started at the end of last season and the beginning of this season. You know that them cameras is going to be on you when you're reading. No disrespect, whether you're reading a comic book, the Bible, whatever he's reading, you know that they're going to pay attention to you when you're doing this on the sidelines. And ever since he put this in the air, the Eagles haven't been playing good. But like Arabia said, it's such a terrible division, which her team is in, that it doesn't even matter. The Eagles are still going to win the division, most likely, unless a miracle happens. But I think we should celebrate the Chargers as well. The Chargers' defense is really, really good. Justin Herbert, he isn't as consistent as I would like him to be. Even though he didn't have a great game, he did enough to win. This game went in overtime, and they won in overtime. But I think we got to put a little bit of respect on Chargers' name as well. I just wish that they would play way, way, way more consistent because I'm a big Chargers fan, also a Harbaugh fan, but congratulations to the Chargers.
For sure. Okay, so the Packers now take over the division after beating the Bears 28-21. So Arabia, what were your main takeaways from this rivalry game?
Well, the NFC has been a really tight race. Last week, when you had the number 1 team be a 9-win Bears team, and then the number 7 seed be a 9-win 49ers team, 1 win or 1 loss can completely change the bracket. And that's exactly what we see, because now we have the Rams at the top of that NFC. The Packers are second, and the Bears are the 7 seed now, just 1 game ahead of the Lions, who are 8. So the NFC North is incredibly volatile. The Packers are back in the lead in the NFC North, like you said, stat undefeated in their division, which is very important for any tiebreaker situation. Jaden Reed is back. He hasn't played since week 2. Bo Melton is a really exciting 2-way player to watch. And I'm sure they're really thankful for that INT at the end of the game to preserve the win. But these next 4 games for the Packers, the Bears, and the Lions are going to be very, very crucial.
All I can say about this Wisconsin's team, Green Bay, is that it's just I'm happy that it's finally back towards Milwaukee. I go out to Milwaukee a lot, so this looked like a place I'm going to be able to watch a lot of football in the playoffs. And I would say this, it looked like also this trade that the Cowboys made between the Cowboys and the Packers is turning out to be a steal for Green Bay and not so much for the Cowboys. Throw another shot at Mike since I wasn't here yesterday. I really wish I was here to burn the poncho. I had a poncho. I was going to burn it. I wasn't sure if they was going to kick me out of the studio, but I was definitely trying to make that flight to burn that poncho.
Yo, Raven, let me ask you this because we said it earlier a few shows ago. You still don't trust the Bears? Like you don't fuck with them? You don't think it's gonna happen? You still feel that way?
No, it's not that I don't. It's not that I don't fuck with them. I feel like between their division and the conference in general, it's way too tight for me to just crown them victors. Like we saw them go from 1-7 in the matter of what, a week. So I can't be like, oh yeah, I trust the Bears when Packers are right there, Lions are right there, and I got to see more. I got to see how the division turns out and how the conference turns out.
So you still don't think they will make the playoffs right now, in your opinion?
I don't know if they'll make the playoffs right now. Not that I don't think that they will. I just have to see.
So it's a different tone for different week. That's all I was just checking on. This is a good game. Packers end up pulling out, but to me, the Bears look really good. And I'm not going. I have to agree with Arabia. All jokes aside, is that the reason I'm saying this for the Bears? I wouldn't even think the Bears would be a conversation at this point of the year right now. And watching full games the last 3-4 weeks of the Bears, we watch Red Zone, so you get a lot of highlights and what's going on. But I watched some full games of the Bears, and Caleb Williams looks like an NFL quarterback. Fingernails or not, painted or not, he looks really good. But to Arabia's point, it is a lot of teams a game apart. When you're looking at the NFC West, you have the Rams in first place, but they're in a virtual tie with the Seahawks, and San Francisco is a game behind. It's going to be really sad that somebody from that division doesn't go to the playoffs, but it's a really tight race. The game was really good, and shout out to the Packers, but that's another team that we thought in the beginning of the season was like, oh, it looked like the Packers are going to pull away and definitely be potentially in the Super Bowl. But you can't tell with them. To me, the Packers are similar to the Chargers. Week to week, you just don't know. When they're looking good, you're saying, okay, they could be one of them teams. And then the next week, they fuck up and lose. But overall, the game was good. And I'm looking forward to see how the NFC turns out winding down.
Okay, and now the Colts. So they lost to the Jaguars 36-19, but they also lost Daniel Jones for the rest of the season due to a torn Achilles. So, Arabia, first, what do you think is the Colts' future?
That's a great question. And to that point, the Colts will host Phillip Rivers today, Tuesday, December 9th, for a workout to see if he'll join the roster. As of right now, Riley Leonard is week to week with the strained knee ligament. So 44-year-old retired Phillip Rivers, who initially retired in 2021, is going to see if he has anything to offer in Indy. It's what makes me nervous about these teams that go from zero to hero in one season. They're the talk of the town in the beginning of the season, but it's about how you finish. Now the Colts, who were heralded as the best team in the NFL early in the season, may not even make the playoffs. They might not even win their division. And yet another division that's really close. The Jags have taken over with 9 wins, and the Texans and the Colts with 8 wins. So the Jaguars so far are doing a lot better under Trevor Lawrence and Liam Cohen and Tony Boselli and James Gladstone, because for 13 years, from 2008 to 2021, they had 1 winning season, but now they've had 3 in the last 4 years. So for the Colts to go from the 1 seed to out of the playoffs in a month is crazy. So we're going to see what the next month will bring for the AFC South, and if Phillip Rivers is going to be part of that.
Yeah, I really hope that this works out for them. This would be so catastrophic to start off the way that they did, like you said, and not make the playoffs. But the way it's looking now, they're in about, 3rd right now? And I could see them losing at least the next 4 games. not playing. If they lose the next 4 games, it would be like this whole entire season went down the drain. They went from being like 700, 800 to being under 500. I think if they lose the next 4 games, they'll be 500. They'll be 8-8.
For all that, just go see what the fuck Andrew Luck is doing. Like Phillip Rivers, he played for the Colts 1 year. You go see what the fuck Peyton Manning doing. And this should kind of piss me off, because it isn't like Phillip Rivers is a career Indianapolis Colt. He's a fucking Charger. He played 1 year with the Colts. And that's how bad it has to be at the quarterback position in Indianapolis for them to say, yo, is Phillip Rivers busy? It got to be that bad. And we was coming in here, shout out to my nigga Church Dante. We was talking about how bad it is for backup quarterbacks in the NFL period. Just the quarterback situation, if you don't have a great starting quarterback, and they put my nigga Shedeur through all this shit, and you're going to look for Phillip Rivers right now? That's how bad the quarterback situation is in the NFL as far as backup quarterbacks is concerned. You know, I sat there and I know y'all fuck with me and all this shit as y'all should have, and y'all should have fucked me. Me trying to give Jake Browning a fucking chance. You're trying to hype him up, to build him up for Cincinnati, and he went out there and played worse than I would have played. That's how bad it is. And when I see this shit, I just think about how much shit they put my nephew through, Shedeur, and y'all going to look for Phillip Rivers. That's fucking ridiculous. I would just see what Andrew Luck doing. At least he was really a talk. Or maybe just see what Peyton Manning's doing. You know, I think Peyton Manning could try and wheel them to 2 fucking wins to go see what Phillip Rivers is doing. I don't know if he sent them a tape. I don't know if he showed them niggas on the football field still throwing in 60. So I have no idea. But Phillip Rivers' name to come out of nowhere is crazy. Back to the actual situation, though, with the Colts. Look, I feel really bad because, you know, we gave Daniel Jones a hard time when he was in New York, not just me, New Yorkers, period. So for him to find a team and not just find a team, have success with a team and have them looking really good to where it looked like potentially a few weeks ago that they might get a bye when they go to the playoffs and not making the playoffs is really, really sad. And as much, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to use hate, because it was deserved when he was in New York. But as much as I fuck with the nigga, and I'm talking about not in a good way, in a bad way, Daniel Jones, I was really happy to see him having success, and for him to go out this season like that is really bad. So get well soon. Colts, I'm looking forward to see what you do for moving forward with Phillip Rivers, if Phillip Rivers comes back. But it got to be bad at the quarterback position right now if you're calling Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, what happened to Anthony Richardson? Why don't just activate him?
I don't know. Because last thing I heard is that he had an injury too, and I know he's out, so I just don't think they have any options. Yeah. You can go ahead and
He had like an eye socket.
Yeah.
He had an eye socket injury that he was dealing with when they were kind of talking about Daniel Jones being injured. And they were like, well, why don't they just put AR in? But he was also dealing with his type of injury. I think we're talking about it a little bit with Maurice in the chat about how if he's available, he needs to step up. But if not, then he's kind of shooting himself in the foot right now. But you know, this whole thing with the Achilles is even sadder because depending on how he heals, he might not fully heal to the beginning of next season. I mean, the Achilles is like a serious thing. So I also feel I gave Daniel Jones a lot of slack. I was like, I don't believe in him coming into Indianapolis. I don't see him being world class and making this crazy comeback. And that's kind of sort of what he did. He definitely proved me wrong. And so for him to go down with injury is really unfortunate.
Yeah, and I remember they were trying to see which one of those was going to be the quarterback QB1. So if somebody take your position and now you have the opportunity to get it back, it got to be very emotional. You know, I'm just praying for people mental health these days because it just seems like people don't have it like stable upstairs. It's crazy because this would be the time for him to say, you know what, even if I'm just 80%, let's go out there and get this position back because come next year, he should be QB1 and for them to have to go around him is crazy at this point. I think he could be at least 70% right now, 70 to 80%. And that's good enough to play. Nobody is hardly ever 100% in the football league.
Take two. I do want to give Phillip Rivers the benefit of the doubt because I'm just a little curious. And Arabia, I'm going to let you go first. What do you think the pros and cons of having a 44-year-old quarterback play for them in this position would be? What do you think are the pros?
Well, let's just think of, that's a great question, Stat. Let's just think of some of the vets this season who have come in the you know, who weren't starters who came in. So we saw Jacoby Brissett come in for Kyler Murray, right? And he kind of activated Marvin Harrison Jr. And we saw Joe Flacco come in. He started with the Browns, but he comes in for the Bengals and activated the Triple Crown winner, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And we saw Tyrod Taylor come in and didn't necessarily win games, but looks a lot better. Like sometimes these veterans come in and it's not rocket science. They oversimplify it. And they're like, I know who my playmakers are. I'm going to get the ball in the hands of my playmakers. So he might be this prototypical pure pocket passer who's just going to give the ball to his best players in the best moments and go through his reads. And another thing is a lot of quarterbacks these days read their receivers instead of reading the defense. And so he might be able to read defenses quicker to go through his progressions in a more efficient way. So I can see some upside. I can see a lot of pros in this regard, especially if they give him a pressure outlet. If the offensive line isn't doing well, he's not an extremely mobile person just in general, but especially at 44 coming back. But I can see some upside if it works out. I mean, we've seen a lot of veterans come in and do it already this season.
44 is quite old to bring a quarterback. I'm over here thinking in my mind, how old is Michael Vick? Michael Vick is probably 44. Man, 44 is too old to be quarterbacking. If somebody hit them the wrong way, this could potentially mess up their retirement. I wouldn't do it.
And he's 45, but basically same thing. So
yeah, I knew it. When I heard the age, I was thinking, who's around 44 years old? And the first thing that came to my mind was Michael Vick. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I think this is too old. See, Tom Brady was 45 when he retired. But Tom Brady was playing consistently when he retired. You know, I think when they see somebody like Joe Flacco come back, he's 40 right now, you got to realize, they said, no, Joe Flacco came off the couch. He played the year before he came off the couch. It wasn't like it was sitting around for 4 or 5 years not doing anything. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. Listen, we're not scouts. We haven't seen what's going on. Something obviously they seen and something Phillip Rivers knows that we don't know, or the Colts know that we don't know, for them to even make this a conversation. So I don't want to just sit there and rain on a nigga parade. But if you're just saying from how it sounds stupid. It sounds dangerous.
Yeah, if they're saying people have been playing the last couple of years, I remember T.O. wanted to play. Nobody was letting T.O. play. T.O. could have played if niggas could play at 44. Put T.O. on the team if that's what we doing. If it's people that could really play. I know a lot of people that could really play.
That's a great point, T.O. And I think T.O. was in fabulous shape. But I think that they didn't give him an opportunity because of his birth certificate. But not only because of his birth certificate, how that nigga fucks the locker room up, though. To me, it wasn't just about his age, because T.O.'s in great shape for his age, and that's a great point, Mason. If you're going to let a nigga that was older play a few years ago, it could have been T.O., but I don't think it was just his age, which is a key point. That nigga's, every team he go to, he causes a headache in the locker room. You know, we had T.O. on the show. Shout out to T.O., that's my man. And a lot of people that come on the show, Antonio Brown, Maurice, everybody, when they come on this show, and we be like, yo, why you be bugging? And then they explain to us.
It don't sound that crazy.
It don't sound crazy at all. It sounds like, yo, y'all didn't know about this, or you didn't know about that, or you didn't understand this place. And we get to hear their perspective, thank you, on exactly why they were being crucified. I don't know what's up with my words today. Crucified in the media.
And criticized.
Crucified, criticize a better word. In the media, on like T.O. fucks the locker room up, or this, that, and the third. And then when he came up here, he told niggas, yo, nah, the nigga Donovan McNabb be bugging. And then gave the explanation behind it. So, but as far as Phillip Rivers is concerned, it sounds wild dangerous, my nigga. It sounds really dangerous.
Yeah, whoever gossip, they should make a crime out of gossiping, man, because the word of mouth pause be messing a lot of niggas' careers up. Just what somebody said and then come to find out is not true. They caused a lot of people a lot of money. I'm thinking about quarterbacks right now that could still probably play. Would you let RG3 play? He's young enough to play. If you're saying 44 years old could play, and think about that. That's about 2-3 years older than Aaron Rodgers. And we think Aaron Rodgers is old. So 44 is really up there, y'all. I think we're not really considering this. What do you think, Arabia?
It's definitely up there, and especially in football terms. And you see a lot of the injuries that young quarterbacks are sustaining right now. Everyone claims that Matthew Stafford is one big hit away from retirement himself. 44 is up there. if they are going to put him behind, under center, they got to make sure that he's protected, because if not, it's premeditated murder. So I think they definitely need to make sure that they're not setting him up for failure. And he still has to get through the workout process. So we're going to see how the workout goes today and then kind of go from there, because they might see him in real time and be like, never mind. So it's definitely it's definitely up there.
What I'll say is this, though. For quarterbacks, though, they lucky they can't get hit, pause, like they used to. That's the one thing that will save a nigga like Phillip Rivers, even though you still could get hit, still could get hurt. But, nigga, Tom Brady changed that whole shit around, nigga. You could barely breathe on the quarterback these days. Like, you do anything, the first thing, quarterback be on the floor looking at the ref like, and then the ref throw the flag. So he does have that in his favor.
Yeah, I think last quarterback I'll add to this comment. If you're going with 44 years old, Ben Roethlisberger is 43. Come on. Stat, he's not on the Steelers stat.
I know.
Let him play at Indiana.
Mom, keep it 100. Ben Roethlisberger looked 70 when he retired. He looked terrible 4 years before he retired.
That's how old that is. That's what I'm trying to say. 44 is wow.
So actually, last thing regarding the Colts before we move on, because you guys all bring up really great points, and I think it kind of brings like a little bit of a bigger discussion, especially Cam, when you brought up the word danger. That's kind of what I was hearing. So looking at the Colts, prior to the official injury results for Daniel Jones, he was playing through a fractured fibula to begin with. So Arabia, how do you even feel about the organization basically making that decision to have him continue to play while he was injured? Because I know they didn't have a lot of options, but what's your opinion on that?
The Colts feel like they have a window right now, and they want to capitalize on this window that they have. They don't want to bank on sitting Daniel Jones and then having him come back next year. They're not exactly sure what Daniel Jones are going to get next year, because we saw 4 years in New York, him have a decent freshman rookie season, and the next 2 seasons were okay. So they're not sure what Daniel Jones is going to look like next year. They want to capitalize on the window they have now. So they're like, go out there and play. They're going to kind of sacrifice him to take advantage. And, it's unfortunate part of the business, and they're definitely not looking out for him as a person. But yeah, they're just trying to take advantage of their window.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. They're definitely not looking out for his best interest. They're like, it's been so long. We're here now. Let's make the most of now. Not even considering that after he walks off the field, we still don't have nobody for next week, or the week after that, or when the playoffs start, if we make it. We're just going to willy-nilly. It's been a long time since I even heard that term, but that's exactly what they did, which could have potentially got him injured even more. So this organization is really under the watch right now, really scrutiny to see what they will do with this next decision of theirs. If I was them, we gotta get something out of AR, because we're paying him a lot of money. We're paying this guy a lot of money. It's time for him to go out there, and he got to put his emotions and stuff aside. And if you guys need a counselor for the team, I'm available, because it seems like people need counseling as football players.
What organizations looks out for any football player? Like, what the fuck are we talking about? Nigga just had Jaden Daniels out there last week when his arm looked like a chicken wing 3 weeks ago. Nigga had the nigga out there last week, Arabia, right? Fucked the shit up again.
Yeah, They definitely did.
Yeah.
They absolutely did. And we talked about it on the show with Clinton Portis and Champ Bailey, and they were like, even if he's healthy, don't put that man in the game. And that's exactly what they did.
And then he got fucked up again. Same fucking arm. So when we're sitting here talking about, are we looking out for the football players? Nobody's looking out for any football players. You try to win this week, and you try to win this year. That's what's going on. Jaden Daniels is a fucking franchise player. And we know that the Commanders ain't going nowhere. So to put him back out there, that was stupid as fuck. They doing that to him. You think they really give a fuck about Daniel? If you could get out there, nigga, get out there. It's not shocking to me. Ain't no organization going to look out for no football player. There's so many football players that's Hall of Famers, and some organizations, and that's the one thing I will say about Jerry Jones. He takes care of the niggas that took care of him when they was winning. And not even with winning. You know, niggas like Tony Romo, he still love him, even though Tony Romo's doing a great job analyzing games, so on and so forth. But even afterwards, if you looked out for him or helped him win, he still looks out for you. It's very rare that you got owners that look back, still go back and check on old players and let niggas come through. You know, and I know we switch to sports when I say this. I seen fucking James Dolan throw Charles Oakley out the garden.
Yeah.
Like, yo, niggas don't be caring, my nigga.
Yeah, you right.
So at the end of the day, what are we really talking about when they be like, he's not looking out for the players or this team? No team is looking out for the players. They're trying to win. That's what they do.
Yeah, they did the same thing to Brady. They told Brady he got to get out of there. They was ready to move on to the next quarterback after everything Brady did. So, you know, you're right. That's just how the football league is.
The unfortunate.
Same thing with RG3.
Yep.
RG3 ain't do shit. You always got to throw the Commanders in there, man. They ain't do shit. RG3 ain't
What you
doing
mean he ain't do
motherfucking
shit? RG3 had a very exciting rookie season in the
Ooh,
shenanigans.
a whole rookie season. He killed it.
He had to fire Socks.
Yeah, nigga, RG3 was nice in college. He had a great rookie season. Ooh, great rookie. Of course, it's Commanders. I mean, look, RG3, don't get it fucked up. He could have been great, but wild athletic, don't know how to slide. Keep getting hit, fucking his shit up. Concussion after concussion. He could have been one of them niggas, but he don't know how to slide. RG3 was like a little, even though he had Michael Vick, he had the potential to be like a Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, but that man just kept getting hit pause after hit and didn't know how to slide. Now he on ESPN or was on ESPN running full speed in a suit, talking about, look, y'all, I can still play. Look at me. Hey, it's over. Sorry. It's just the facts.
First of all,
Okay,
the conversation wasn't about if RG3 had a good career or not. The conversation we were having is examples of players who were put in situations that they should not have been put in because the organization, to your point, does not care about the player. They weren't like, RG3, you had a good rookie season. We want to look out for your future. Why don't you have a seat, brother? They didn't say that. They said, get your ass back in that game. So to your point, RG3 is another example of that, regardless of what he did in his career. Second of all, I think RG3 is a clown, and I want that on the record. I think he does too much pandering to white people, white women. He wants to be the tokenized black person. All this shit he always has to say in defense of Caitlin Clark, like he wants to put his cape on for the white women and be a white savior, and all this angry, weird stuff he has to say about Angel Reese and other black women. RG3 is a clown, so I don't put my cape on for RG3. I just use him as an example as a player who in his career the organization doesn't look out for, because like you said, organizations don't do that. They're not on the side of the player, they're on the side of the business. So he was actually the perfect example for that.
RG3 wasn't that good. Whether you want to use the example or not, I'm using my example, and I understand where you're coming from. He's an example of injury and so on and so forth. He wasn't Jaden Daniels. We know Jaden Daniels is going to be a franchise player. And we know Daniel Jones is going to be back with the Colts because they love Daniel Jones. Whether y'all talk about Anthony Richardson or not, Anthony Richardson, he can't stay healthy no matter what. This was his job to have. That's the reason they brought Daniel Jones there. He's been injured year after year after year. He's out. Like Mace talking about bringing him back. That nigga not coming back. I mean, he should come back in this situation. But if you got an eye socket injury and whatever the fuck other injuries he keep having, if you can't see, you can't throw. That's first and foremost. I didn't know he had an eye socket injury. But Arabia, you're correct. I'll give you that. Good job.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, he has like an orbital fracture or something.
Yes.
And like you said, if you're not available, you're messing it up for yourself. You tapping your helmet to get out the game. Now you injured. Yeah, it's not looking good for you.
No notes. Okay, we're going to go to break. When we return, we will discuss the Seahawks. Don't go anywhere. What's up, big dog? What's up, big dogs?
Martin Luther King Jr. will be alive today if Tua was the shooter. Tua's passer rating can barely go to the club and get a bottle. 24.1 passer rating against the Browns. Marlon Humphrey is online saying that he wants to go on a glizzy tour. He wants to go to 50 states and try 50 Glocks.
It's going to be challenging for A.J. Brown. He typically stands outside the numbers a lot, and that's where PS2 thrives.
CeeDee Lamb said this is one of the best offenses he's been a part of. And as much as I hate to say it, I can see why he says that. I just said all these positive things about the Cowboys makes me want to throw up. So I know it's taboo to put your hands on your kids. I know. But I had to whoop your son the other day.
When I evaluate rookies, the best thing I can always say about the ones that are doing the best, they understand pass protection. Pass pro is where you see some rookies struggle. He's not doing that. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far.
Welcome back. Now let's get into our underdog picks of the day. Fast forwarding to Thursday night football, the Falcons will play the Bucks. Underdog has Baker Mayfield at 220.5 passing yards. Do you have him higher or lower, Mace?
I gotta go higher. I'm really expecting Baker Mayfield to play well in this stretch, boss.
Man, I'm gonna go higher. These niggas tied with the Panthers, that's the wildest shit to me all season. As much as we talk about the Bears not expecting the Bears to be where they're at. Yeah, this is really crazy. Division game, they should win, and I think Baker Mayfield play good. He's been playing good all year, dealing with injuries, so on and so forth. I'm gonna go higher.
Okay. Kirk Cousins is at 205.5 passing yards. Do you have him higher or lower, Cam?
I'm gonna go higher for Kirk Cousins too, man. He got three-headed monster with those receivers, man. I became a big Drake London fan this season, so I'm gonna go higher for Kirk Cousins as well.
I'm going higher.
Okay, and Bijan Robinson is at 70.5 rushing yards. Do you have him higher or lower, Mace?
I'm going higher.
Lower.
Okay, make sure y'all download the Underdog app, and you can make your picks too. So Seahawks beat the Falcons 37-9. Like Cam said earlier, the Rams and Seahawks both have a 10-3 record in the NFC West. So Arabia, do you think people are underestimating the Seahawks? What's your stance on them right now? How do you feel?
I hope they're not. I mean, I hope that at this point, people have seen that the Seahawks over the last few years have been, at the very least, a cusp playoff team. They've kind of been right there, either just missing it or making it and not doing much. So they've always been a decent team in kind of recent history, but now they're showing and stepping up in a way that is just more consistent from last year. I hope people aren't underestimating them, especially some of the midseason moves that they made. And, not too much surprising this game, especially with the Falcons. But I don't think people are underestimating the Seahawks. I think they're just in a really tough division. Now, if they were in a division where the other three teams weren't as good, maybe they would be praised more, but they're in a tough division and they're still doing well. So I hope people aren't underestimating them. They're a formidable opponent for sure.
Yeah, I think what Sam Darnold is pulling off there is amazing. At 10-3, I think when they go into this game that he has a phenomenal game, like we just talked about in the stats. And I really believe this is always what Seattle has been when it's been great. It seemed like they have this quiet success until it become noisy, and that's what it's doing right now. It's like a blue collar type of team that just works hard, and then they find themselves there at the end when they were winning. And this seemed like that same type of team that is making their way. Like, we never made a big deal of them all season, and here they are at the end. Week 13 at 10-3. So I look forward to them doing well. And I think there's no pressure on them to do well. So whenever there's no pressure and you're in the driver's seat, that's a great place to be.
Okay. And we talked about this game yesterday. We got to talk a little bit more about it today. So the Chiefs lost to the Texans 20-10. Mace, nobody is safe. But Arabia, what do you think is happening to the dynasty?
I mean, everything at some point comes to an end. And this isn't to say that the Chiefs will not make the playoffs. There is a path where they still can make it. The path is just arduous, it's tough, it's rough. First of all, the Bills, the Jaguars, and the Texans all have the head-to-head tiebreaker over Kansas City. Second of all, they have the worst conference record of any of the top 10 AFC teams. They're 3-5 in their conference. So if they want a chance to make the playoffs in the AFC, They have to perform a lot better in their conference than they have been, especially given their competition. The Chiefs would need to win pretty much the rest of their games. They play the Chargers at home, then they play the Titans in Tennessee, and then the Broncos at home, and then the Raiders in Vegas. So the good thing is that their hardest games are at home, and they typically play well at home. They would also hope and pray that the Chargers, the Colts, the Dolphins, the Ravens, all those kind of just around the cusp teams don't win too much. It's a long road, but the question is, if they do make it to the playoffs, then what? How far will they go? Are they going to just go to the Super Bowl again? If they do make the playoffs, I don't see them making this deep playoff run, but one thing at a time, this Chargers game will tell us a lot.
Yeah, I think who they're playing, Stat?
Who they playing, or who they lost to, who are they playing?
Who they're playing next?
Chargers?
I would go on the record to say that I just really hope that Kelsey or Kelsey doesn't become old right before our eyes, right? There's a few plays I'm watching that the ball is getting thrown. And he's just not completing a play. Like Patrick Mahomes is putting the ball in the player's hands, and when the ball hits your hands, it is no reason to not catch the ball. I know that's simple football rules, but that's exactly what's happening. You got a lot of things that are happening on the field, but what always been the highlight of Kansas City is that they can make plays. So it doesn't matter what the defense does, and that's been the formality in the mind that we don't care what happened over here because we got a quarterback that can score 10 points in 4 minutes and things like that. And that ability is still there if you have players that could catch the ball and complete the plays. You see people dropping passes that will be big first downs, and I would say that's what's happening to the dynasty is just not players that could catch the ball. We got to get people that can catch the ball. It's as simple as that sound. That's really the end all for me, because if your defense can't stop nobody, but I could score more points than you, I would still win even with bad defense. So I hear a lot of people saying it's a team sport, but if I score more points than you, I normally win. That's how it goes. And this Kansas City team is just a big disappointment. It's a disappointment to me and people that love to see great football. So I'm definitely going to own that and speak up on that. And people don't like to hear the truth these days. Every time you say the truth, people get rattled. The truth is important.
Mm-hmm. 6 drop passes. That's a great point, Mace, in that game the other day. And another great point. I'm not going to sit and say Travis Kelce getting old in front of our eyes. I think he's been getting old, but niggas on the sideline sleep. Cameras caught the nigga sleeping on the sideline, my nigga. Dead ass. This nigga sleep on the sideline. Joe Biden, Donald Trump style, nigga caught the nigga sleeping on the sideline. I don't know what that's about. I don't know if he's not interested. Nigga tired, hanging out too much. But I don't get it. The cameras be on niggas. Take a nap before the game, or if you that tired, go in the tunnel or the tent or whatever. But yeah, great point. 6 drop passes, and Mahomes is putting it right in your hands. That's a problem. But what I will say is this, and like I said, we didn't talk about it too much yesterday. We touched on it. That nigga Patrick Mahomes is a fucking dog, bro. That nigga plays to the end. It was no time left. I'm being facetious, but 40 seconds left, down 10 points, down no timeouts. They on their own 20-25. He's making complete passes. He's completing passes, and he's still trying to fucking win. Come running down, catching the ball, 15 seconds left, spiking the ball. My nigga, there's no way that y'all can win mathematically. Even if you throw a Hail Mary, is no time to get an onside kick, get the ball back, kick a field goal. But that's how hard he plays. And when I see that shit, I'm like, damn, I feel fucking bad because he's doing everything he needs to win. But, hey, I don't know if everything come to an end, but it looked like the Chiefs is coming to an end this particular season. This is the first time in 10 years they're not going to win the division. So there you have that.
Crazy time to be alive. So Shedeur is officially named the Browns starting quarterback for the rest of the season. Arabia, what are your thoughts on this decision by the coach, given what we've seen happen in their last game versus the Titans and throughout the season?
I think Kevin Stefanski I won't call him a clown, but he displays clown behavior. You take Shedeur out for the 2-point conversion, and then turn around and then announce to the world, hey, world, he's going to be our starting quarterback for the rest of the season. Like, as he should be. And then, we were talking a lot about Anthony Richardson, but then this brings up the point about Deshaun Watson, right? Like another somebody that they have on the roster who they're paying a lot of money, who is just injured season after season. And when he is in the game, he's not lighting up the world and playing super great. So if you still have Shedeur, and then they're talking about next year potentially bringing Deshaun Watson back because of how much they're paying him, and just the quarterback situation in Cleveland is absolutely terrible. And I hate this for Shedeur, but it is what it is. And I think he's handling it with grace. And I think he's saying the right things and doing the right things, even though he's scrutinized for a week to week. But this was weird. I don't know why he even came out and said this. Like, he should be the starting quarterback. You shouldn't have pulled him off the field to begin with. And just the whole Cleveland situation in Shedeur is a mess. And I hope somehow he's able to get out of it.
Yeah, Coach Kev is like really. He just reminds me of like that teacher that it's almost like your child is, let's say they're 5 years old and they're about to leave kindergarten to go to first grade. And you're like, you're going to first grade. I know I'm going to first grade. I just finished kindergarten. This is like, it's so mind blowing to think that, that he thinks he's doing Shedeur a favor with every step of the way that he does things. He makes it a point. It's almost like he's using this for his own celebrity, just to be a prick or whatever else you can use the word to call him. It's just ridiculous. I want to do research on him this week and find out, have him and Dion ever crossed paths before? That's the only thing I could think about. Somewhere, somehow, these paths must have crossed, because he can't be this oblivious as a head coach in the NFL. He gotta know. But maybe that's why the Browns has been in the place they've been in, because he's at the helm of it. He got to do better.
Should be the starting quarterback. He had 324 yards, 3 passing TDs, a rushing TD. The only rookie quarterback this season with 300 plus yards. And you blew an opportunity for him, talking about Stefanski, for him to make a comeback during the game. We talked about it briefly yesterday, but it should have been a really big story, and I think it kind of got swept over, how even though Shedeur fell in the draft, but I was talking about how probably the end of March, early April, before the draft, I went to their workout, and I was watching Cam Ward and Shedeur work out at UNLV. And I was like, yo, both of these niggas is really good. And that story, because of how bad the teams are doing, kind of got swept under the rug, the number 1 pick. And then Shedeur falling so far in the draft, that kind of got swept under the rug, how these two friends played against each other and starting quarterbacks in the NFL, because I thought that was really dope, especially going to watch both of them practice. And it was like a small practice, only like 10 of us there. So that was really dope to see them play against each other. But yeah, back to Stefanski. Me and my man Larry was talking. Larry isn't here today. It's almost like it can't just be him. It got to be general management. We don't know if his ownership, he can't just be making these decisions by himself to the point where he makes himself look this stupid. My nigga, it can't just, I'm just going to give him the benefit of the doubt and saying, yo, they telling me to do this. Like, that's the only thing I can really think of. When you say he's the starting quarterback, there's 4 games left. You're not in the playoffs. You only won 3 games. Why wouldn't he be the starting quarterback the rest of the season? It isn't like y'all got a playoff push. It isn't like he hasn't played well when you give him more than a week of practice. Like Arabia said that week when he got thrown in the game against, I think it was against Baltimore, and he looked horrendous. And she pointed out how he hadn't got any practice, any good reps. Gave him a week of practice. Each week he's looking better. So, like, wow, congratulations, Kevin Stefanski, for announcing some shit that should be announced. It shouldn't even have to be announced. It should be already just be a fact.
Yeah, and Stefanski did say that. He was like, every week to week, he gets a lot better. He does a lot better. But again, I don't know why he announced it. But Cam, to your point, and maybe I'm in my conspiracy theory bag, my alienated bag, but I do feel like it's more than just Kevin Stefanski. I think the NFL, like the higher ups in the NFL, and I don't have, this isn't fact based, this is just my opinion. Higher ups in the NFL wanted to prove a point to the Sanders family or to Shedeur or whatever, and all came together with this whole plan to how he fell in the draft, and they needed an organization or coaches to play ball. And I think Kevin Stefanski is just playing ball, and whoever it is that's like actually controlling the puppet strings is unknown, but Stefanski's playing ball.
Yeah, that's how I felt about it. Like I said, when me and Larry talk, it can't just be all on him. And not just the Sanders family. Like, sometimes you got rich niggas who just go against the grain because they like, yo, who the fuck is y'all niggas telling us what to do with our organization? You got to think this organization is not very smart. And as much as I love Deshaun Watson, they're the one, this organization is the ones who set the quarterback salary so high when they gave him that $250 million guaranteed contract. You got to think the other owners is like, what the fuck is you doing? Because now, when you give somebody like Deshaun Watson, because he's balling in Houston, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he shouldn't have got money, but 250 was unheard of at the time. Then you got Lamar Jackson. Oh, if he getting that, I need 275. Joe Burrow comes along. You got somebody, what's my nigga at the Jaguars? Trevor Lawrence said, yo, I'm all right. My hair long. Don't need $260 million. Yo, so they're not really smart budget-wise. They're not smart doing a lot of things. I'm talking about the Cleveland Browns. But it is, like I said, I agree with Arabia and Larry. Something else is going on, and it's like, yo, who the fuck are you to tell us we're billionaires what to do? It ain't just the Sanders family. When you got President Trump tweeting, talking about what's wrong with the NFL, Shedeur is nice. Y'all bugging. Why y'all not picking him in? Then you got him tweeting on the draft. Nobody picks Shedeur. This is the president. Niggas like, man, fuck that nigga. Not me. I'm just saying certain niggas. Like, who the fuck is the president to tell us what to do with our organization? It just be like that when you got a lot of bread sometimes.
Yeah, the whole thing is weird to me. I just think it's a lot of damage control. I think at this point they've seen how the people are reacting, what's actually happened on the field, and seeing that, okay, it's not adding up. Nothing is making sense to the general public. And I also think it just comes down to, like, I feel like regardless of how you feel about how Shedeur plays on the field, he's still a star. And I don't think people also knew how to handle that as well. So I just think that all these different factors and all these things, like, now they're just trying to pick up the pieces. But at this point, like, the world has already caught on and we've already formulated our opinions about what has happened. And so it's kind of hard to shift our energy towards all the decisions that have happened because we've seen Shedeur play best. Like, he's outplayed the rest of the people
that you had in front of him.
Yeah. So at this point, it's like, it's too late. We already feel the way that we feel. So I don't know if do you think you're making everybody happy by saying that he's the starting quarterback? Because this is what people have said from the jump, because it was a chance that was given too late. And so then this also brings me to my next question before we wrap, because we talked about Dillon Gabriel and the comments that his girlfriend made, that when she was saying, like, everybody in the organization wants him to play. I don't know if that was just coming from her. I don't know if this was a discussion. Like, those are still missing pieces because we don't know what that conversation was.
Everybody wants you to play.
Dillon Gabriel, that was her argument, and then all the stuff that she'd been posting on social media. So, Arabia, what do you think is his future? And then now kind of seeing the decisions that have been made, what do you kind of think of what she had to say prior?
What do I think about Dillon Gabriel's future? I think a lot of it rides on what happens with Deshaun Watson. If they bring Deshaun Watson back and they want to justify the money that they're giving him guaranteed and be like, look, we paid on you all this money, you're going to be on this roster and do something, then, you know, maybe they try to use him as trade capital. Because I thought with them having Kenny Pickett, technically Deshaun Watson on the roster, Shedeur'S, Sanders, I thought they were going to use some of them as trade capital. So maybe he's going to be trade capital so that they can get some draft picks. But it depends on what Shedeur does and their future plans for Deshaun Watson next year. Because I think how Shedeur'S, Sanders has been playing, they have no choice but to keep him either as QB1, or if they want to try to bring Deshaun Watson as QB1, then make Shedeur'S the backup. But I think if they make Shedeur'S the backup, then a lot of people will riot. So it just depends on what happens with DW.
Yeah, I think all of this, I said this earlier in the year, and I'm just going to stick with it. I think all of this was a great thing that happened to Shedeur, because I think when it all boils down to it, it's going to make him a better person. It's going to make him a better athlete. And he's going to end up outside of Cleveland. I think all of this is just working its way for him to be at another franchise next year, playing as a starting quarterback on another team. And just remember I said it, just like we're looking at this Indiana situation. All of this, Indiana won't be ready for their quarterback next year. He'll still be hurt. Richardson probably won't be ready. And I would like to see Shedeur at a better franchise with better players where he could really win. And all of this could seem like a nightmare to happen, but it happened for the best, and it just was a part of the journey. Everybody's journey is totally different. And sometimes the better people start out with things very, very hard. So at the end, it makes sense why he's there. So when you think of Gabriel, I think he's the person they wanted to play, but that's not the way it turned out. And I think the injury just made it so that he couldn't play. So even what they wanted to do didn't pan out that way. And it goes back to that old statement that the cream paws always rise to the top. And no matter how you try to stack the cards, it came back to Shedeur Sanders. And I appreciate that. And I would just say in the future, I would even give this advice to Coach Prime. Like, just don't say things like, my son ain't going to play it anywhere. I'm not going to let him play anywhere. Like, those quotes come back to really rally these emotions in people, because they're like, who are you to say where he's going to play? We're going to show you that he'll play wherever we say he's going to play. And that's what I really believe that happened. And I have the right to give my opinion. There's no slack at anybody, just my opinion.
I don't know what the fuck happened with Dylan Gabriel. It's my answer. The fuck I know what's gonna happen to that nigga. Nobody knows what's gonna happen week to week with the Browns. Everybody went all around the world with the answers. They just asked what happened with Dylan Gabriel. I don't fucking know.
That is that. Okay. Last thing before we wrap, this is an interesting quote that went viral, so I want to get you guys' opinion on it. So sportscaster Erin Andrews opened up about career sacrifices. She said, I miss all holidays. She explained one of her professors said, if you don't want to make $40,000 in your first job, get out. If you don't want to be told you need a nose job, get out. If you don't want to be divorced, get out. If you don't want to work holidays, get out. You got to love what you do, because I miss all holidays. I didn't get married until I was in my 40s. Not that this is going to be your route, but I live out of a suitcase. I miss a lot of stuff. I miss a lot of weddings. I miss a lot of events. You have to love it to get through it. She misses Thanksgiving, Christmas, all of those things. So Arabia, what is your take on that?
So this hits home for me only because this is exactly the case when it comes to my son's father, who is in his 10th year in the NFL. Misses graduations, Christmas, Thanksgiving. He misses everything. And I do all the heavy lifting as far as everything. And his dad misses out on a lot. And it's a sacrifice. I saw a lot of people have a lot of backlash to what she had to say. Like, you knew what you were signing up for. God forbid you do something like cover football games and you're complaining. What about Walmart workers who miss Thanksgiving because they have to work? What about Target workers who have to work on Christmas? Like, basically comparing her job and the fact that she has to miss out on family things and holidays when retail workers and other people who aren't making nearly as much money as her with nearly as many benefits also are missing out on holidays, but she's complaining. I didn't take it that way. I think there's a level of sacrifice when you are trying to reach a certain level of success when it comes to spending time with your family that unfortunately is very much lacking. And I completely agree with her. Like, I see firsthand, and even me doing media, I have to be very intentional about my son's mom and dad not missing out on a lot, because I travel a lot for draft and Super Bowl and combine and just games, all these things. And you just have to be very intentional about the time that you spend with your family. So that definitely hit home for me.
Yeah. When it come to holidays, especially families, I think those are the times that matter to most. To me, I think each household is different. So I can't say for what somebody should do, but I believe that holidays are very, very important. I don't believe there's a dollar amount that can make up for the absence of a person being there. But that's my own personal opinion.
Who is she exactly? I understood what we said.
Yeah, she's a sportscaster, so she does different, like, reporting, interviews, things like that.
How much she make? Oh,
Right now, the quote that
I
she
heard
made,
something about 40,000.
yeah, she said one of her professors told her, if you don't want to make 40,000 in your first job, get out, basically, because when you start off being a reporter, journalist, you get paid not a lot at all.
Right. I don't have a big family. You know what I'm saying? So my son be with me no matter where I'm at. But if you know, when I get with you, is it like, let's say I'm dating a female, you know what you signed up for. Like, I've been doing this since I was 21 years old. You know what you signed up for. So you could come with me on a holiday or go where I'm at. But if it's the right money, I'm going to get it. It isn't like I have cousins and aunts and uncles and we do stuff on the holidays. Even God bless to them, my mother's alive. We're not really big a celebratory family when it comes to holidays. So I agree with her. I'm going to get that money. And if you're my part of my real close family, come meet me. We'll do it together.
I have a very different take on this. One, I definitely understood what she was saying. I don't think that means that she's ungrateful or like not deserving and things like that, because I mean, you are going to have to sacrifice a lot of time to do the things that you want to do, especially in sports. My professors told me the same thing when I was in school. They said, you're not going to get paid a lot. You better love it. Like, probably going to be behind the camera for a long time. It's going to take about 10 years for you to get a TV role. You're going to be doing this and doing that. And what I did was I did what I wanted to do, and I'm very blessed, very fortunate. And y'all know I always thank Mason Cam for the opportunity they gave me, because I could have had a very, very, very different route. Like I always say, I was probably finna do local news, and then that's clearly what wasn't in my cards. Like, this is a different path for me, but I fully went into my career path not expecting to make a lot, not expecting to have time off. And even now, like, I do a lot of things that require a lot of time, but I'm doing it because this is what I want to do. I think that people sometimes think, and sometimes people have more flexibility in their schedule. And sometimes people think like, oh, when you make, like more money, like you're just going to have all this time. And I feel like when you make more money, you actually get less time because you don't get off days. Yeah. Like, people see it as like, oh, you can just go travel and you can go do this and you can go do that. Like, I may be traveling, but most of the times if I'm traveling, it's still on business. Yeah. Like, it's gonna make sense, but it's also gonna make money. I'm not just like, oh, here and there and there and there. Like, most of the time it's time tied to a brand or tied to something that has to do with work. But again, I'm doing this because that's what I want to do, with the hopes of in the future, having financial security to where I can do, of course, whatever I want to do if I want to chill and relax and do all of those things. But that's just kind of what comes with following a dream, chasing a dream, and doing the things that you want to do. And your brain's constantly going to be working. And then, I mean, even all of us up here, like we film 5 times a week. Even when we leave the show, our lives are still being followed. Like, people are watching what we're doing. So it's a constant job that might not seem like a job, but it is. But then again, we do it because we like to do it. So that's my 2 cents there.
When we did this show, when we started this show, the first year, if it's 365 days in a year, we worked 360. That's when niggas was hungry. Not saying we're not hungry now. We worked every day. I think we took 1 day off for Thanksgiving, 1 day off for Christmas, 1 day off for New Year's. We worked every day when we first started this show, because we knew that where this show could possibly go. But that's part of the sacrifice of trying to make something great as well. So I was just adding on to
Yeah, no, of course. And people just don't realize it, because even like we always talk about when we first started the show and I was doing it in school, like, of course, like I was graduating. It was my final year. Everybody's like, oh, like Treasure, like we're going to this party. We're going to the club. I was like, I got to go work. They're like, what do you mean you got to go work? I'm like, I got to go work, because I had to go work. Like, I wasn't going out. Like, I wasn't going to do the extra festivity. Like, if there was a homecoming event, I wasn't going with everybody to go celebrate. I was in the studio. I was writing. I was watching the games. I had to make myself better so I could be the best that I could be. And I still learn every single day. So I just think that a lot of people kind of like don't realize that, because they see the fun. And it is a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong. Like, we love what we do. you come up here, but like there's still work that goes into it from all of us. When you see Cam, when you see Mace, when you see Arabia, when you see Maurice, when you see Mike, like we're all always working, and that's just what kind of comes with it. So that's what I would put there. But shout out to the people chasing their dreams, because it does happen, and I am an example of that. But with that being said, y'all, that is all the time that we have for today. Arabia, you know, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Always a pleasure being here. I think we had a pretty harmonious show. I think, if we kind of look towards the beginning and take a totality of the show, I think everything was pretty agreeable. So good job, guys. Great show.
Yeah, a little bit of rage bait. But we got through it.
A little bit of rage bait is fun. We gotta mix it up a little bit, but I think we had a good show.
That's for sure. Okay. Thank y'all for watching. And as always, it is what it is.